Hey, how you doing? We got a couple winners to talk about tonight. Boy, let me tell you what. One of them you've already seen, so you get to hear me describe a movie to you that you've already watched a few days ago. All right, so welcome to the show. As you pointed out to me earlier, we're actually really close to hitting 150,000 on subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to us yet, and you want to throw like a shout out or like throw up a tweet or mention us on Facebook or wherever, we're getting really close to the 150,000 part on our subscriptions.
That's right, yeah. It's exciting stuff. We thank you guys for subscribing and being a part of this.
Yes, thank you.
And if you're new to us, you're just watching us now. Click that subscribe button.
Mm-hmm.
We see about every movie that comes out.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Ryan Mitchley, director, editor, and
I'm Kuntai Ted.
And this guy's Kuntai Ted. Brad Jones, the cinemist now.
Yeah, and speaking of, check out our latest snob video from yesterday, which is on God's Not Dead 3. Plus, there's something new we're kind of trying out too that's like a sort of a little spin-off that we're trying to do that's more of like a video essay parody with the Cinema Snob, and I did a first episode of that today with the Oscar nominations being out today. So check out, that got posted up this afternoon, so give that a watch. That's something I'd like to do more of in the future, honestly. You had a review up with Dave last weekend when I was gone.
Yes, for A Dog's Way Home.
For Dog's Way Home. So
I loved it, clearly.
Oh yeah, I watched. You know what? I at first I was like, well, okay, I'll wait and watch you and Dave's review after seeing the movie, because with it being a talking dog movie, that's kind of a niche genre on this site. I was like, okay, I gotta end up going to see this anyway at some point. So I was like, I'll wait till after I see it. But then I go, wait a minute, the whole movie's in the fucking trailer. I might as well still watch the review, and I did. I did. So if you haven't seen that review, it's really funny with that, and you could tell from the windows that it was cold when you guys were reviewing that fucking thing.
It was so damn cold.
Yeah, and we're there. When you went to go see it,
God's Not Dead, The Revenge.
It was the shark that killed Kevin Sorbo. Thanks for the donation, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
When you went to go see it, were you guys the only ones there?
No, there was a few people there.
There was when I went to go see it, too. There was some families there. There was like an older couple, and I can tell you this, I was the only one there fucking watching it alone.
They're all like, that poor man. He's here watching all by himself.
Shit, I felt they're all looking at me like some jackass who walked into this theater. And it's bad. You can hear the rain outside, so it's bad if it's a gloomy day anyway. I go see this at 4 in the afternoon, walking in this gloomy day, having to go like, one for A Dog's Way Home. And it was in the giant theater in there as well, for whatever reason. Like, the opening credits were a little blurry, which meant this is on a screen too big for this movie.
Awesome.
So I'm sitting there, I'm tired because I didn't sleep that well last night, so I'm tired. So I'm sitting there, this jackass, alone in a theater with these families, with a coffee in front of me for Dog's Way Home. Just sitting like,
like this guy must really love dog movies,
yeah.
Or he's at work.
Yeah. If there was ever a moment where you could tell this is my job.
This is work, yeah. It's not all fun and games, folks. It's work.
Yeah. I'm saying that because there's a lot of people in there, it's not like I could make any noises in the movie or anything either.
Right, yeah.
So when this dumb dog is talking in the movie and saying stuff like he's telling me not to chew his shoes. I love that game. No chew shoes. It's not like I can sit there and just go like, oh God.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah.
I was like, because there's always 20 minutes worth of trailers before these. So for like 10 minutes beforehand, I'm just kind of hanging out in the lobby, and was fixing my coffee and then went into the theater, and I thought the movie had already started because there was a trailer for another dog movie in front of it.
Yes, A Dog's Purpose.
A Dog's
2.
Journey.
A Dog's Journey, right? Yeah, A Dog's Purpose 2, because the dog died, but it's back again, but it died.
So that is a sequel.
Well, as Dave and I were watching the trailer,
Yeah.
Dave was like, "I saw this movie." He says, "This movie came out 2 years
And
ago."
it also had Dennis Quaid in it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
It's the continuation, and the dog dies again, and then comes back again, and then it dies again, and comes back. So yeah.
You can throw all these dog movies at us that you want, but
it's very literally the genre that will never die.
Yeah, what you know what? I'm glad though that as a cat person, I get to see a cat help defeat Thanos. So you can throw your Dog's Way Homes out there.
There you go.
I really want that poster. Have you seen those character posters for
Captain Marvel?
One of them's with the Goose, the cat.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want that so fucking bad.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
There is, I mean, speaking of, I mean, you know, there is like a couple of nice things I can say about this movie. Because it's sort of like what you and Dave said, where it's like, it's not terrible. There's crazy things about it. But, so one thing I did like was that it was really nice to cats. I did like that about the movie. Usually when you see a dog movie like this, it's made by like that kind of dog person where something shitty's happening to a cat throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. This didn't do that. Like the dog is like raised with
by
cats and befriends the cougar, which boy will I get to that. Befriends the cougar and everything. And I did enjoy that about this movie. Yeah. Was like I liked the relationship between the cats under the porch and the dog and everything. So one thing that's been talked about a lot with this is that the trailer seems to show the whole movie, and it really does. Like, I mean, with the exception of a couple of things, because like, okay, like one thing I was curious about was like, okay, I know the dog's going to make it back at the end, but is it going to be the exact scene that's in the trailer? And it kind of is. Like, it's the shot of him seeing the dog. That is what happens at the end of this movie. There's some details that are left out, like the dog getting hit by the car beforehand and, like, limping and everything. And that it's at, like, this VA hospital and everything where this is happening. But for the most part, it's like this movie is really kind of all in the trailer. Except for the fact that why does this movie have a villain
who disappears?
What the fuck was Gunther or something? The evil fucking like land developer,
right? Yeah,
who wants to like demolish the house across the street from them where all the cats are living. They're like, no, you can't do this. There's cats living underneath there. It's like, I don't care. I'm Gunther.
Yeah. And I have a permit from the city.
Yeah, and they have to like they end up stopping the permits at one thing, and then this land developer is getting revenge on them by having this cop, I think he was a cop or an animal control guy,
like part of the police force,
stalk this family, just waiting for this dog to just go outside so he can get this dog, just out of spite.
Right.
Like, why this is a really simple solution. Move the cats out of the porch, and then you can...
Instead of sending the guy, the opening scene is them like trying to get the cats out. Like, I think that's everything, and they leave. No, it's really not. If you'd have done your job right, you know, or like tell the guy to go back. Instead of just go back. There's still cats there. Go get them. That's what they're supposed to do. Get like a box or something and hit it real hard. The cats will scatter and be like, there goes
Yeah. Cats are really street smart.
Exactly. Like, they'll scatter. They'll be gone. They'll be fine.
So, and I'm like, why is this? Why does this movie have this like sneering land developer villain that is the reason? Oh, and I love too where like so there's the part with this movie does have some unintentionally funny parts in it. I love the part where the dog is in this I think like a cop's office or the hospital or something like that, and the main guy, the owner of the dog, and the girl who's like, I guess, sort of a love interest. I don't know. It doesn't really come back to that later.
It does. They're married. They're like living together at the end.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay. I was kind of bored by the end of the movie.
And there's a wedding picture on there.
That dog's gone for a while.
Yeah. I don't know if I said this in our review, You'll know if I mention this in our review, but there's at the point where there's the avalanche, and they get taken in by the two guys, the couple.
Yeah.
When they walk into their snow chalet, there's a picture of them wearing the exact clothes they're wearing at that moment.
I didn't notice that.
So like, clearly, I mean, and like, you know, I know what happened. They're on set. They're like, crap, we need to make this look like they're home.
Yeah.
So quick, somebody go take a picture of them in their wardrobe, what they're wearing right there. And then they printed it out on set and put it in a frame on the counter. But like, they walk in wearing the clothes that's in the picture on the counter. But anyway, just pictures, thank you, because there's a picture of them like as a wedding thing later. But just pictures, that made me remind me of that, because it's like, come on, at least make them switch vests or something.
That sequence had one of my favorite lines in this movie, but when they were in the office with the dog, because they want to get the evil animal control guy, and they want to get the dog by labeling him as a pit bull.
Yes.
And you can't, wherever this is, Denver, I think this is taking place.
Yeah.
You can't have just like a pit bull walking around the street or anything like that. So they like bend the rules to try to classify this dog as a pit bull. And the doctor, whoever, is like saying to the two of them, like,
I know exactly where this is going.
You remember this fucking line? Exactly going. So they says to him like, oh yeah, they can just stop you. They can just stop this dog on the street just by looking at him and take him in. And then the girl, the black girl, by the way, goes, "What? That's dog racism." Ends with the dog going, "Goop."
Yeah.
That happens in the movie. So that was one of my favorite fucking lines in this. Plus, comparing this to like fucking stop and frisk, like, so show me your papers. Like, all right, whatever.
It basically was exactly that. Yeah.
And so the avalanche happens later on in the movie. And the dog, Bella the dog, is with a bigger dog, and they go with the gay couple. And then the guy who is injured in the avalanche wakes up from, I don't know, I guess a coma or whatever, and he's back at his cabin, but he turns out to be a real asshole. He's like, "Get that dog away from me. I don't even know that dog. I've got a broken leg. Do I look like I can take care of a dog? Get this dog out of here." And then it cuts to Bella, and the voice is just like, "You deserve to die alone."
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, okay, maybe he's being portrayed as a jerk, but he has a pretty valid point.
I mean, he was a dick about it.
He was a dick about it, but he lives alone in a cabin, and like a big dog. He's in traction, like he's in bed in traction. He's like, "I can't take care of a dog." He's like, "That guy really can't take care of a dog."
No, he was a colossal shitbag about it.
Yes, but he still couldn't take care of a dog.
Yeah, he's this big ass dog that might as well have like a barrel of whiskey around its neck.
Right? Yeah.
This dog is really dumb. This dog is really, it's an adorable dog. Right. And honestly, the dog actor that they have here does like, when he's limping at the end and just like covered in blood and everything, the dog is doing a solid job. It's trained really well throughout this whole thing. They give this dog this fucking pandering ass voice by Bryce Dallas Howard, I believe, does the voice of the dog in this. And it doesn't match anything. It's just one of those, like,
it's because
it's manipulative.
It's based on a novel.
Yeah, it is.
And, like, the thing is that the narrator being so simple-minded makes it really tedious. Because there's nothing to elaborate on by having this voice other than, "I want to go over here. Oh, that looks fun. I want to go do that. I like playing that." It's like, but it's not like you're not getting really more information than what the dog is looking at.
No,
like,
you're really not.
Like Dave talked about this and you talked about it, true, and I fully agree. It's that honestly this movie could have had no dog voice.
No, it really shouldn't have had any dog voice. If you really gave it a really memorable score, and did maybe some re-editing on it and whatnot. No, you could have easily told this story without this dog voice, because with her doing the voice of this dog, that does not sound like it's coming out of this dog. Right. Like with her doing this manipulative, like, voice with it. It sounds like it's someone on ecstasy and drunk, because the dog's frequently like, "My trainer is so soft. Oh, I love what he does to my body." He actually says that in the movie, so I'm like, what is this? What fumes are going through the audio booth when she's recording these lines?
I don't know, but I read something that apparently Ron Howard makes a cameo in the car crash scene on the interstate.
Oh.
One of the people that gets out of the car is apparently Ron Howard.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I mean, and it goes to the credit of the good parts about the movies. There were some, I mean, like, obviously they lent, I don't know what they would have lent to it, but
yeah,
I mean, like, so, I mean, that's maybe how it got made or something. I don't know. But, geez,
what's Charles Smith directed it, and he was in American Graffiti.
Absolutely,
with,
yeah, and no, he's a pretty good director.
He's a good actor, a good character.
Actor,
He's one of the Untouchables.
That's right. Yeah. No. Yeah. So there was credentials behind.
No,
this.
there is.
It's just, I think it's just I think a lot of it comes from one. Well, we also had the novelist was also adapted the screenplay.
Yeah,
with another screenwriter, but it's that there's always a major problem in that, and we've talked about that before. Like when we watched Fantastic Beasts, it's a novelist is excellent at one thing, but you really need a screenwriter to do a screenwriter. And when you have a novelist working there, again, I know this from nothing, but it just feels like no, that's too precious. It has to stay. No, that's too precious. It has to stay. No, this sequence must be there.
Yeah.
No, we have to have this sequence. No, it's got to be there. But but what that meant is a 98-minute movie felt like a 3-hour movie.
It felt very, very long.
So
and
long.
the dog voice just felt like it was someone reading from a book.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, I see too many of these movies now where it's not that they're trying to really make me feel like this is the dog's inner thoughts, and more so they're just trying to be so overly schmaltzy and cute with the voice. Like, over the holidays, we watched, when we were in Virginia, we watched Look Who's Talking Now, which is worse than it was in 93, and it wasn't even good in 1993. But that was the talking dog, Who's Talking movie. Yeah. But I'll say this about it. They knew to cast the dogs well.
Sure.
The scraggly one's Danny DeVito.
That's right,
the prissy one is Diane Keaton. Even as fucking awful as Show Dogs is, like, okay, like, all right, Ludacris is a cop dog.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Like,
sure,
I mean, it's tequila. It's like Tequila and Benetti, but from the director of Smurfs. So it's like, there are things that at least know, as bad as some of them might be, to at least know how to what kind of voice they should get out of these dogs. Whereas this and fucking A Dog's Purpose with Bryce Dallas Howard doing the exact same thing Josh Gad was doing in that movie, which is just overly explaining things to the audience and ruining the tone of some scenes.
Yeah,
there'll be something really dramatic going on, and then that dumb voice comes in to explain it to us or to say some stupid joke.
Right.
And they really should have had just an old dumb guy voice doing the dog in this. And I'll tell you why, because everything in this movie is the dog's fault. Yeah. So when the dog leaves the house...
Well, everything, from the dog getting caught.
Yeah.
They have a whole sequence of them training her to run away. And then moment they need her to do it, they go, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay. And then she gets caught.
Yeah. And when she runs out, when this officer is looking for the dog, she's got a screen trapped around her neck because she went to go chase squirrels and jump through the window. Right. And is like, oh, that squirrel looks awful nutty. Like, that's the voice that should have been in this. That should have been this dog's voice. And then the trainer is just like, go home. Like we trained. Go home. Oh, no, you need me. Like, it should have been that.
It should have been that.
That simple dog
right,
voice.
because it's an idiot, and it's but I mean, because it's a simple character. It's a dog.
Yeah.
Right, but it's that you're right. That voice just changes the tone so much.
And then when the dog, so they moved the dog 400 miles away temporarily to New Mexico to wait for this shit to die down, and then they're ready to take the dog back, and the guy who's babysitting the dog is on the phone and says, "Oh, great, well she gets to go home," and then the dog's like, "Go home? I recognize that term. I gotta go home."
And then leaps over the fence.
Leaps over 400 miles.
And there's the actual shot of her running down the road, and then the car passing by, not seeing each other. It's just like, oh great. So the idiot dog. is entirely at fault
Yeah.
for everything that
Sitting
happens.
there in the theater like, dumbass!
all the families look at you.
I was thinking that, but I didn't. There are some weird parts in this movie. Did you guys mention the like 20 minutes of this movie that's like a Tales from the Crypt episode where the dog is chained to a dead body?
Yeah, we mentioned it a little bit, but there was like where the heck? I just had no idea where they were going with this because it was like, is she gonna have to chew through him?
Yeah, man.
Is she gonna eat Edward James?
Yeah. This happens in the movie. The dog is chained to a corpse.
Yeah.
A homeless man living in the woods where there's nothing around, and a couple of bicyclists find him later.
They find him, and they find the dead body, and then we don't say anything about these two kids that just found a dead body.
Yeah, I'm like, this is like 20 minutes of this movie is seriously an animal version of fucking Tales from the Crypt or the Twilight Zone.
Because it keeps going through like the torture because she's stuck and she can't get to water.
Yeah.
She can't get to food, and we see this for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I don't know. But again, it just lends to the idea of just this movie feels so long because that felt like 20 minutes.
It did.
It really did.
This movie feels long.
It's like, why? Why is she stuck there? Why did he chain himself to her? He's dead. And the other thing is of course he had to die.
Yeah.
Because there was no way that the dog was going to leave him, so he had to die. And oh my God, he's chaining it. That means he's going to die. And then he just dies. And then she's stuck. And then the only way out is for her to eat him. And that means she's going to be like, oh boy, he sure tastes yummy. Hum, hum, hum.
I wish that happened.
Why is this happening?
I wish to God that happened. Like, we gotta talk about that fucking cougar too.
Oh,
because that is one of it was, first of all, this made it even better. I was watching it on like the giant screen in that theater because this cougar is one of the worst special effects I've seen in years. If this movie, even if this whole movie was animated, that would still look bad. That looked like some Norm of the North shit is in this movie. And there are parts where it's horrifying. Where there's those guys who are camping and they have their like phone up in night vision, and then they turn the light on, and that CG monstrosity is right in front of them. It looks positively terrifying. And they're playing around on ice and shit,
and then the movie just goes full anime because there's because the dog, usually it's the real dog, but the cougar or mountain lion or whatever the hell it is always animated.
Yeah.
But then there's this moment where they're on a frozen lake where the thing jumps and hits the dog, and then as it cuts to the next scene, they're both animated. And we talked a little bit about this, how they spent a little bit of time and money on that cougar sometimes, but when they dropped a dog, they just went to just a default dog pattern and just drug and dropped it in. It was like, fuck it, that's the dog.
I gotta tell you about this. This is just a really, really quick aside, and then I can wrap this up. But this is just a really quick aside. I had to go see this Boxcar Children movie that was an animated movie, and it's a terribly animated film. Also saw it on a giant screen in there too. And what they did, there's a dog that's in the movie. And there's a part where they have a birthday cake later on, and they put a figurine of the dog on there, and you can tell that all they did was just take the model of the CG dog and shrink it down and put it on a cake because it looked exactly the fucking same.
Oh man!
The CG mountain lion or cougar, it looked better. I'll give it this: it looked better than the fucking Boxcar Children movie.
Oh man!
This movie, I mean, it's a grandma movie.
Yeah,
this is something like you watch it with the family on the Hallmark Channel. That's where it belongs. Yeah. If you took the voice out of this film, it could be something a little bit better. It would. Parts
that's ballsier. It's you're telling the story through visuals, which they already are telling the story through visual, and then adding this extra layer of narration unnecessarily.
Really unnecessarily. Because there are parts where it goes back and forth. There are parts where it feels like this is the dog's inner thoughts right now, and then there's other parts where it feels like she's reading a story in the past tense.
She is.
So it switches back and forth between the
again, novelist.
Oh yeah, totally.
And frankly, the novel might be really good. And like
it probably is, honestly.
And again, like I don't want to knock novelists. I'm just saying that there's a screenwriter and then there's writing novels. They're they're different, completely different animals.
Yeah. Totally.
And like you know, a good screenwriter probably can't write a novel, and a good novelist probably can't write a screenplay.
Yeah.
Now there's plenty of exceptions to those rules, but for the most part, you train to be a screenwriter or you train to be a novelist.
Yeah.
You know? And so like you say,
it's a different animal.
It's just I'm going to type keys and make things happen. Well, it's different. It's different.
You know, it is. And, you know, I mean, I was thinking during this movie, I'm like, the book is probably totally fine.
Right.
Like, I could see if you're reading this with a different voice in your head.
Yeah.
It's probably fairly sweet. Like,
right. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's not worth seeing in theaters. It's, you know what? You can watch the trailer. You get this movie in 5 minutes. You can decide whether or not you'll probably like this fucking thing.
Yep.
You know, that was my experience watching that movie, and then we had to go.
One quick note from a dog's journey or whatever the hell thing it was called. Someone called me out and said, "You guys don't know the difference between a coyote and a wolf." Apparently, they were wolf coyotes. They were a hybrid.
Oh.
So.
Oh, really? Oh, I forgot about the wolves. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, not important, but like somebody called me out. It's like, Ryan doesn't know the difference between a wolf and a coyote. We didn't know what they were because they were hybrids.
I forgot about
not my fault.
I forgot about the coyotes.
Yeah.
So, like, when you said that, I was like, no, this comment is wrong. That's a cougar. Or a mountain lion or whatever. Like, that is neither a wolf
totally
nor...
wrong.
Yeah, like, that is neither a wolf nor a coyote. What the hell is this guy talking about? He mixes up Wile E. Coyote and Snagglepuss all the fucking time.
No, so sorry. Everybody's been waiting for us to talk replicants.
Replicants. You want to take this one since I did Dog's Way Home?
I can make it really short. Name.
Yo, man, this is a movie that's so fucking bad that, like, everything written about it is already saying it's the worst movie of the year, and it's January.
It is January, but this is already a contender. No, okay, so all right, so Keanu Reeves is a neuroscientist because,
dude,
and so he's working on some type of science fiction-y project to take a human brain and implant it onto a synthetic brain of his own design.
Yeah.
And through various wackadoo sci-fi things, including the Minority Report board that he can throw stuff up on, it keeps failing. So he can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then, cut to...
his family going on vacation.
His family going on vacation, like a tiny nugget of getting to meet all of his family.
Yeah.
And then they die. His entire family, his wife and 3 kids, all die. So he then decides that he's going to use his brain swapping technology and apparently cloning technology that we didn't know they had.
Okay, thank you. I thought I checked out for a second and missed that.
This is well, we're doing top secret research about brains, and then when it's convenient, we do cloning too.
Yeah.
So they clone the family, implant their brains on there, but that makes it sound really simple. No, it's like 40, 50 minutes of them working through the kinks.
Yeah.
Of we gotta have battery power, we gotta do this, and what happens with this? And then, have you thought about calling the school? And it's just,
Oh, yeah, because one daughter he can't bring back, he has to wipe the memory of the other daughter existing from the other kids.
Their youngest daughter, they only had 3 pods, so they can only bring back 3 of them. And so he wipes the memory of their youngest daughter. And
other people will know that kid exists.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so much of that. It's so much of these just needlessly complicated things. So overall the film, not to just sit and just recount detail of the film, that he brings him back, but then it finds out that the research company he works for is actually an evil military thing.
Yeah.
And they're not there to help people. They're there to put pilots in drones and so he fights. God, I even lost. I'm so annoyed by this movie that I lost my own train of thought. But take vamp for me.
The movie really loses you pretty quick.
It does, because I'm trying to catch up.
He's got the Minority Report technology where it's going bloop 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 bloop, all of that on the
Okay, I remember.
all of that. Oh, thank you very much for that donation, Aaron Foster.
Hey, thank you so much. Yes.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, we're so glad you can join us. We love having you guys here.
Now that Minority Report technology, what I enjoy about that in this movie is that there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to it.
Right,
it is just him maneuvering around nothing, maneuvering around just shapes, like polygons and shit. Just move this over here, move this over here. There's nothing specific he's really doing with it. He's just moving around a bunch of random shit.
Right.
And when the family dies in a car accident by driving into a lake, all seemingly die instantly in an accident that's left him scratchless. So he also has the unbreakable power, I believe.
I guess so.
At least he's completely fine in all this, but it instantly kills his family.
Right.
And
No, I remember my train of thought, but I need to bring it up later. Yeah, no, there's just things that are just so weird about it that he's fine, and then he calls his like assistant from work and just the shit he makes that guy do.
He makes this guy do everything. It's the dude he's on Silicon Valley and he's on the Verizon commercials.
Right.
This poor fucking guy, he makes him bury his the bodies of his family.
You have to get rid of my family.
And then when he has to choose which one to die, he literally just puts names in a hat. and he wants to make this young kid choose.
He's like, you have to choose.
No, I don't want to. I'm already doing enough, man.
Yeah.
And so for 80% of this movie, I didn't know what kind of movie this was.
I agree.
I didn't know if I'm like, is this a drama? Is it a thriller? Is it a horror film?
Right.
Because I've seen movie. The idea of this movie could be fine because I've seen it done in other things.
Because this is where I was going before. And this is a good point to bring it in. Typically, movies like this are Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, totally.
The hubris of man playing God.
Yeah.
That is what this type of story typically is. And you're right, we've seen it done before because it can be done really well.
Yeah.
It's a good type of story to tell about the dangers of science gone amok.
Yeah.
And like even the trailers for this looked like things of like, you see like, he brings back his family, but something's wrong. It's like, okay, so like that's what that movie was advertised as, because that's the type of movie we typically see.
Yeah.
The hubris of the scientist, the grief-ridden scientist who lost his family, where others don't have the chance he does, because he can play God, right? But he does, and he brings it back. Mm-hmm. But that's not the consequence.
No, it isn't, and I wasn't sure where it was going to go, because you said, there's been a lot of movies that have done something like this and done it really well, or well in a B movie sense as well, like Embryo, Splice, Ex Machina, stuff like that, but when the family turns back up and they're clones, there is something a little eerie about them. And a couple of those scenes I thought were played fine.
Because that's what I thought was going. I thought it was like, oh shit, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like she looks like she's something's happening to her. She's going to go crazy and kill everybody or something, right?
No, man.
That would have been a better movie.
what it turns out when this movie becomes a thriller in the last 15 minutes of it, where the evil organization, I think the same one from Jurassic World, just wants them dead. Wants the family dead.
Right.
So the villain shows up wanting to just murder them, and there's only one way out of this, and that is clearly for Keanu Reeves to make a copy of his memory and put it in the robot from iRobot, which then comes in and kicks the henchman villain's asses, murders the bad guy, just kills all of them it's suddenly Chappie for 5 minutes.
It is. Yeah.
And when it gets to the scene where now this organization is in business, they can start selling eternal life and youth to everyone, and there's the Keanu Reeves iRobot robot in a suit.
Yeah. So
leave me with that image, movie.
Oh my god!
How did he get? Oh yeah, I want to be there when he goes to that tailor shop.
But again, what's the piece that's missing out of that in that explanation is that the robot comes in and beats the hell out of the villain and kills him, but then Keanu Reeves comes back and says no wait, let's talk. And the guy's like, we'll keep hunting you forever. They'll send more. And he goes, what if we go in business together?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, dies. And then
I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon. And then, so the lesson of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or those type of things is don't play God. Don't mess with forces beyond your understanding. The lesson of this one is playing God is fun. You can get your family back. And you'll be fine as long as you sell off all these details to this horrible, murderous villain.
For a reasonable price.
He didn't get any money from it. I mean, he just left. And then the Keanu bot gets to be the guy in the suit going, start the reactor, or whatever the hell.
Yeah, he says that at the end. He looks at the camera like, start the procedure. Or something like, wearing a suit with a robot face.
But it's the whole thing of the guy who's running it, the villain, murders a whole bunch of people.
Oh, he does.
Just straight up murders them. And not we kill him, but we bring him back. No, he straight up murders a whole bunch of people. He's this ruthless, evil villain.
Yeah.
And when you tell him you're going to make him super wealthy, he, of course, agrees. And then you just leave. And so now that horrible, evil, murderous villain is now teamed up with a crazy, strong robot with the brain of Keanu Reeves.
Well, if you describe it like that, it sounds stupid.
My mistake. Oh my God! And so now they're running an eternal life business in Dubai. So that's fine.
Sure,
that's fine. Nothing nefarious is going to happen. Hey, Keanu Reeves got his youngest daughter back.
Oh yeah,
and that's the whole ending. It's like, hey, that family's fine. The rest of the world is screwed. They're fine. Good hero stuff there.
I love
great lesson.
I love Keanu Reeves because Keanu Reeves, there's plenty of movies where Keanu Reeves is genuinely really, really good.
Absolutely. He's a really good actor and he's a really good guy too. So I really genuinely like him. Yeah.
And then there's that area of Keanu Reeves movies that are appealing for a different reason because he's miscast. You can kind of sell this as a sequel to Chain Reaction, honestly. Because in this movie, Keanu Reeves is like a neuroscientist. And I don't know, man. When he's saying all these words well, the brain neuron powers of the Magnum Force quantum physics. I don't know, dude.
No,
but there are parts in this movie where he does genuinely really work, and that's parts where they let him be a little bit more comedic. When he's flustered trying to get the cops away and he's kind of awkwardly going oh, everything's fine here. And of course in the action-y bits he's good. When there's a car chase at one point and he, of course in scenes like that he works, but when he's given a bit more humor to work with, which is very brief in this movie, that's fine. But I mean, this is the kind of movie where the dialogue's only about as deep as the fucking villain, who one of his lines in the movie is when Keanu Reeves sticks him with that tranquilizer, and then the villain goes, "This is gonna piss me off, isn't it?" And then passes out. Fine. So, but thank God, as miscast as Keanu Reeves is in this film and this kind of character, thank God he's there because with Keanu Reeves, he can still be entertaining even when he's miscast in something.
He's charismatic and charming.
So because this movie, it's the kind of movie that would be really bad regardless of who's in it.
It's just so preposterous. And then the technology thing, they want to be super cool about the technology.
Yeah.
But they're too smart for their own good, and that I'm a relatively smart tech guy, but it's I don't follow any of this. And the thing is that to as everything does bring back to Sharknado. When we were working on Sharknado, it had to make sense. Now, as weird as that might sound, you can't just make shit up.
Yeah.
You have to say, oh, this is the something or other, it does this.
Yeah.
And then later it does that.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what explanation it does.
Yeah.
You have to say, this thing does this, and then it does that.
It's what they say in screenwriting, which is when you're doing it well, it's this happens, which causes this to happen, which causes this to happen, which causes this to happen, as opposed to this happens,
Right.
and then this happens,
Right.
and then this happens.
Right,
Like,
right.
just a random sequence of just information you're throwing at me out of nowhere.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah. There's a reason things came from, like the cloning vets out of nowhere.
shit.
Or the tracking devices that the bodies had.
That's
like,
right.
Like later, like the whole chase sequence is, oh, they can find us because there's tracking in there.
Yeah.
And like he explains it like, well, of course there's tracking things inside you. That's, honey, as we're driving away, of course, they always put tracking devices in their thing. It's like, well, that's not, we didn't know.
Yeah.
So, but like, and it's not a huge problem. It's just one of those things that, like, we should have known something about that,
Yeah.
right? Like, you should have teased it somehow. I mean, maybe they wanted it to be a twist that, like, oh, the villain knows that he's there or something. But like, I don't. You still could have teased it early, super early, so that the smarter viewers would know. Hey, what about those tracking devices? But then they just show up out of nowhere and become this big threat that they have to get rid of.
You can tell.
Like those are problems in the screenplay.
You can tell that this, a lot of that maybe I could chalk up to just saying, like, maybe at some point this just simply looked a lot better on paper, because from what I know about this movie, which isn't really anything super specific, but I know they, like, apparently this was made like 2 or 3 years ago,
Right.
and had a really troubled production.
Right.
And when I was watching this movie, I was like, yeah, I can tell.
Right,
There's
right.
just something about it, like, because this is a really random movie. This is slapped together. Like,
and that's kind of, you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah.
That it feels like there were a bunch of re-edits
yeah.
that were like, well, we need to explain this now, and we need a threat here, and we need to do this here, and we need to change this there, and so yeah. Just eventually you're like, there's no saving this turd.
No,
just poop
there
it out
was.
and
I don't know what this is doing in theaters, other than it's from the same studio that put out the Hurricane Heist.
So
that
clearly-
came to theaters, and I saw it at this fucking theater too. We're at the other theater, and we're at the. We typically call it the religious movie theater, because that's where all that stuff goes. So I saw Hurricane Heist here as well.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, man, yeah. I mean, it is the kind of movie that, if you did get some friends together and put this thing on, you could
Right.
probably have a laugh with it.
But it insists upon itself so much in that you must know all the technologies they're talking about it, that if you weren't paying attention, like, again, I was paying attention the whole time, and it was annoying, but I still, like, it was still hard to follow. So, like, if you're not paying attention, like having fun with friends, it's just noise.
It is, but, like, you will see, like, a Keanu Reeves robot show up in a suit, and, like, weird other, like, random ass shit that's happening in this film. Like, so I could.
There's got to be better things to put on at a party, man.
Oh no, totally. I mean, but it is the kind of movie where if you have to put this on, like, that's the kind of atmosphere that you really want for this.
I think the only people who go to movies because they have to is us.
Yeah. Us and the two guys sitting in the back of this theater.
They were chatting it up the whole time.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
They were. Yeah, those guys didn't give a shit. They were just sitting in the very back. It was just us, and then these other two guys in the very back, just seemingly killing time.
Exactly. Yeah, they had an appointment later tonight, and they're like, "Well, shit, we got nothing else to do. Might as well go sit inside Replicas."
Yeah, let's go see Replicas. It's not going to be out for much longer. This thing debuted at like number 12 or something like that.
That seems higher than what it should be.
Yeah. No, man. It was honestly about what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, based on the reviews, based on its like score things, it's like, oh, this looks bad, and it was.
It was bad.
Sometimes
it's really bad.
Sometimes it's good to get what you expect, but
This movie feels like it was. I don't know. It feels like it's the clone of like an even shittier sequel to Species.
But without the, it just. Again, like, it was so and again, like, obviously they had no idea how to market it either, because again, it really felt like Alice Eve, the cloned wife, was something was wrong, and there's a couple moments in the movie where that happens, and then she just goes, "I don't feel well," and he goes, "You died and you're a clone," and then she's like, "Okay."
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, when she's dead and it's raining, like. They didn't give a shit about what takes they used in this, because, like, when she's dead, you can tell she's reacting to rain falling on her face.
Yeah.
You can tell she is, like, she's doing. It's not that her face is moving necessarily. It's just like this, like.
Right,
like
yeah,
this.
she's cringing to
Yeah.
try not to move because you get water on your face and you twitch,
Yeah.
So she's really trying to.
I'm like, they don't give a shit about. No one gives a shit
No,
about
no.
this. No one in this theater gives a shit about this fucking movie. It's bad. Yeah, man. So, any other final thoughts about this one? I don't think there's anything we're forgetting.
No. Yeah, just no. There's nothing to remember.
Yeah, no. There's a couple stuff I got coming up this weekend. I know Serenity is coming out, but I don't know if it's getting a Thursday show. It might be. I'm not sure. They haven't updated their times on the movie. The Kid Who Would Be King comes out, and Serenity. So one will be seen on Thursday, one will be on Friday. Also, Sarah and I are doing a worst movies of the year list. Tomorrow night, I think. Tomorrow night, Sarah and I are going to be doing that. So, all right, everyone. Thanks, Aaron Foster, for the donation.
Absolutely. And where are you going to be at in February?
February 22nd through the 24th. February 22nd through the 24th. Come see me at Wizard World Portland. It's the first time we've done a show over on the West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or out west. Come see us there and use our promo code. It's Cinema20. Go to wizardworld.com. You can use our promo code and get 20% off of your tickets. So, yeah, come see us there in Portland, and we'll be doing that all weekend long. And check out the latest Cinema Snob episode on God's Not Dead 3, and also the little, hot takes with the Cinema Snob on the Oscar nominations that came out today. And stay tuned tomorrow for Sarah and I will be shooting the worst movies of the year list. So, all right.